This is Darren Jensen coming to you for the last time this week. Are we on Wednesday? Today's already Wednesday. Whenever I look around my screen, I'm looking at Dana Fortune. She's up here typing in. She's the one throwing up all the comments there that come up underneath my name. So if you're wondering how I can type so fast and put up the little comments under the screen, it's because Dana's up there typing really fast. So I cannot believe that it is it's already Wednesday. Time is flying. We're so close to the Orlando Elite Academy. Well, welcome everyone. We're glad to have you here. Today is our leader series, and we have with us our Elite Pro 7, Charlotte Venter, and she lives in Australia up in the Sunshine Coast. So for her, it's just a little after 5 o'clock in the morning, and she and I were on getting ready to go, so we got her up pretty early today. So I'm grateful that she was able to join us. But she is somebody that I've wanted to get as one of our interviews for quite some time because, one, I love her accent. All the Australian accents, I love them. And also, she is just a powerful leader. And I think it's important that we all listen to her because she is moving and shaking. Well, before we get into our interview with Charlotte, one, I always like to highlight any biohacking shirts that I'm wearing. I'm not sure if I've worn this one before. This one says Biohacking Life. I'm sure it's available probably on our store. If not, you can find it at the Orlando store. And anyway, I kind of like that, Biohacking Life. That's where we take our technology and combine it together with our economic opportunity of direct selling, and those together allow us to biohack life. Well, as I mentioned before, we have the Orlando Elite Academy coming up soon. And with that, if you have not purchased your tickets, be sure and get some just as soon as possible. We've had some of the hotels starting to fill up. So get in, get signed up. We've got an incredible program. This is going to be one that I believe we're going to look back on years in the future and say, it was at that time that the company changed. Because we're going to be releasing a lot of our new technology, a lot of our new biohacking information. We've got John Maxwell there. We're going to be releasing and talking about our new stacking strategy and products. We're going to be releasing the Omega Plus, which is a new product that will be added to our activated essentials. We're calling those stacks now. So anyway, big things are happening. Also, we're going to be giving away some free tickets to our Elite Academy. So make sure you put your city, your state, and in some cases, well, in your name for sure, name, city, and state. And if you happen to be doing that outside the United States, please put down your country. Because I'm assuming we're going to get a lot of visitors today from Australia. And you can do that even if it's not on the live broadcast. You can do that afterwards because we won't draw for a few days. So I'm seeing that people are jumping on now, so welcome. We're glad to have you here with us. And let me go ahead and introduce our leader today. And you know, we had a really hard time with exactly which presentation we were going to use her in because she is absolutely a mover and shaker. She just went Pro 7, Elite Pro 7 in I think it was June of this year. And she and I were just talking before we started, and she said, Darren, I'm going on a Pro 8 run beginning next month. So she starts her Pro 8 run in November. So she's definitely a mover and shaker. She's definitely a leader. So we're just glad to have her on. So her name is Charlotte Venter. And let me read some of her bio. She lives in Australia. She actually lives up on the Sunshine Coast. So if I remember right, if you're in Brisbane, and that's on the east coast of Australia, up above Brisbane is the Sunshine Coast. Is that right, Charlotte? Not yes. Okay. You can't see her yet, but I can see her. So yeah, so it's on the north side of Brisbane. The Gold Coast is on the south side. Both of those areas, absolutely gorgeous. And if I ever moved outside the United States, that would be one area that I'd definitely consider moving to. She lives there with her, she says, her handsome husband, Andre, and their amazing children, Brandon and Robin. Charlotte first joined network marketing in September of 2013 After researching the industry, she discovered that this was the business structure that she had been looking for all of her life. She ranked to the top level within 6 months and was making a six-figure income with her first company that she had joined. After working with one other company, Charlotte had learned what to do and what to look for in the perfect company. At the start of 2016, she set off to find the company and product that she knew would bring her massive success, which was, of course, LifeVantage. She joined LifeVantage in April of 2016 and has ranked events, as I mentioned before, to Elite Pro 7, and that was within 14 months. She now leads a global team with passion, purpose, and love, and her business continues to grow every month. Charlotte's vision for building with LifeVantage is not simply about dying with no debt, but it's much bigger than that. Her vision is to set her family free from all financial and time stress for generations to come, and also to rescue orphans and sex-trafficked children through their registered charity, I Hope Ltd. So with that, let me welcome Charlotte onto our program. Thanks, Charlotte, for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Darren. Thanks so much for having me. I'm so honored.
Well, I'm just glad that we got you up before, around 4 something in the morning to join us. And I know that was a big sacrifice, but thank you. I know that everyone in LifeVantage will be grateful to listen to you.
Awesome. Thank you.
So, Charlotte, talk to us about, all right, in 2013, you had a change in your life in that something must have not been right, because you were looking, it says here, for the perfect business structure. You're looking for a business structure that fit you, and you found that in network marketing. And then bring us up maybe why you were looking for that, and then up to where we are today.
Sure. Darren, I've always been a really loyal worker. I've always been pretty disciplined and working for corporates as well as working for myself. And I just found that whatever I did, which was, my own business or working for corporate, I still could not manifest freedom of time and money. And I knew that there would be something more. And I must say that initially I was really, really skeptical. A friend of mine introduced me, and it took her about 6 months to get me to go and have a look. And when I did, I was just blown away by this industry and how it really does offer an incredible opportunity with really low risk. And that is what I was looking for. So I've always been a mum that could be at home with my kids and, be available when the school phoned and said, your child is sick, can you pick them up? Or, I used to be able to go and watch these sports events and not miss out on a lot of that. And, the other thing that really drove me was watching people in this world merely survive. Most people today are just on a rat race from Monday to Friday. And I remember just looking around, looking at people and listening to their stories and seeing their lifestyle and just how stressed they were and still didn't have money as well. I just used to think there's got to be more. So for a really long time, I was praying and I was believing that there's got to be something different. And, when I found network marketing, I started researching and I was blown away by what this industry offers. And, you don't need to be a doctor. You don't need to be a specialist in any kind of field. It's just every type of person, really, if they committed and they want this, they can have it. And so that's, just the fact that people today merely survive and they struggle. And, there's little joy out there with most families. It's Monday to Friday, rat race, always stressed, doing stuff with the kids and homework and all that. And I just thought there's got to be more to life. And so I went looking, and that's really what got me.
Well, let me just repeat some of this back. So you wanted out of the rat race is basically what you're saying. You wanted flexibility, both as a mother, so that you could work with your kids, be there with them. You wanted something that was low risk. And definitely, I think direct selling is low risk because you can still keep doing your day job. It's something you can build into. You wanted lower stress. And what I would ask everybody who's watching, what was the number one thing that you joined direct selling or LifeVantage for? What was the key driver? Was it flexibility? Was it low risk? Was it money? Was it, getting out of the rat race? What was it? If you could just put that into the comments, I'd be interested to see what your main drivers were. And also, if you have questions for Charlotte, make sure and put those in there. I'm reading the comments as they go through. So, Charlotte, how did you make it to LifeVantage? Talk to us about from distributor. So you got into the industry, but talk to us about your journey to LifeVantage.
Sure. So I started in 2013, I think it was, and I didn't know much at all. In fact, I knew nothing, but I started researching, and I started with one company, and loved it. I loved the company, I loved the products, I loved the people, but I just found that the retention on the products was really, really poor. And as hard as I was working, bringing people in on the front end, I was losing them at the back end because they would only stay on the products for 3 to 4 months. And so I realized, Darren, that it's the perfect business model, but you do need to have a product that has really good retention. And so at the start of last year, I called together our team. And I said to the girls, hey, and there's 5 of us girls that have always sort of journeyed together in the industry. And I said to them, hey, girls, I am going to stop with this company and I'm going to take 6 months off and go look for the perfect company. And when I said that, I meant a company that was stable, that was older than 10 years. That's really important. A company that I could trust, corporate team that I loved. And actually, I was following you because, I won't go into that, but I knew about you and I knew that you had joined this company as well. And so we just, a friend of mine and myself, we printed off the top 100 companies in direct sales. We looked at the list and, some of them we crossed off immediately and others we started looking. And within 2 weeks, she found the little yellow pill, Protandim, and she introduced that to me. And we pretty quickly knew that this was the company we wanted to join partners with. So to give you an idea of how important social media is, we at that stage just went onto Google and onto YouTube and searched top leader in network marketing and LifeVantage. And a couple of names popped up, of course, Rachel Jackson and Tara Wilson. And we made contact with Rachel and sent her an email and said, Rachel, there's a couple of crazy women in Australia that want to change this world. Will you please work with us? And so anyway, we went on to a Zoom with Rachel pretty quickly. And it took us 4 months, Darren. We didn't make the decision lightly. We really researched the product, researched the studies. We wanted to be sure that this was a legacy company. And I can tell you that all the boxes we had were ticked, plus more. So we are so stoked to be with this company.
Well, we're glad to have you part of the company. So
thank you.
Well, let's talk about what you're doing now. As I mentioned, you went Elite Pro 7 in June, and we were talking right before we went live that you're looking at going on a Pro 8 run in November. So what are you doing right now to grow your team? I mean, talk to us about your strategies and be specific, because I know that a lot of people out there would want to take notes because you're actually, because you're having a ton of success.
Yeah, Darren, I believe in sharing the information. I share all the stuff that I do with our team as well and teach them. So, there's such a huge, big market out there. I don't think we need to be careful of, sharing our secrets. So for me, Facebook is a huge one. Social media is massive. In fact, 95% of the people that I've brought into the business, I never knew before. And I've met them on Facebook. So I go daily, I go into Facebook, I go into groups, I search for different groups. For instance, maybe entrepreneurs in Australia, and I will friend request people. I friend request between 10 to 15 people most days, but I go and look for my target market. I'm not just friending anyone. And then I just start chatting with them. That's one way that I do. And, how do you start chatting with somebody? Well, you just say, hi. Hey, how's it going? Thank you for accepting my friend request. How's the weather in Sydney today? Like if they live in Sydney, or I'll go into their page and I'll say, oh my gosh, your kids are gorgeous. How old are they? So basically just start having conversation with people, and then I start building some rapport with them. It's the new age of network marketing, is, I believe, on social media. So as years ago, we would go out and meet new people and ask them those same questions. For me, social media is really a place to find a lot more people. So I do that, and I teach our team how to do that as well. But, we also do the one-on-one stuff. So I believe the best way to grow your database is to do a combination of different things. Don't just sit on your computer all day and do Facebook, right? So one of the other things we do is there's a website called meetups.com. I don't know if you guys have that in the States, but we have that in Australia.
It sounds like a dating site, meetups.com or something.
It does, but it's actually not a dating site. It's a place where you can go meet other people. And it's very specific. So if you go to meetups.com and you put in your postal code, it shows you all the groups in your area that are meeting. And these could be knitting groups, they could be cycling groups, they could be, we've started biohacking the aging code groups in Australia. We've encouraged all of our distributors to get a group going. And there's a massive following on that website. So people just join your group. We've had such success where distributors have started a group in the meetups, for biohacking, and they've within a week had 40, 50 people join their group, and then they go and have coffee together and they just talk about the products or the business. It's so simple. So
let me just, because I hadn't heard of meetups.com. So now, is this specific to Australia, or is this a global one?
I'm not sure. I think it's global. I do think it's global because it's .com.
So for those of you that are out there, I'd check it because I haven't checked this website. But if it is here in the United States, that sounds really interesting. You're saying that within just a short point here, let me give a little link to it here. Dana, is that in the U.S. then? Okay, it looks like it is in the U.S. But you're saying that this is a big area for you to meet people, right?
Totally. It shows you all the, well, I would say 99% of the groups that are meeting in your area. And it's even Toastmasters. It's, your surf clubs. The list is enormous. So anybody that says to me, I don't have friends, I don't know where to meet people, go onto meetups.com. You just simply put in your postcode. It shows you all the groups, and you can go and join those groups for free. And then you get an email from them to let you know when their next meeting is, and simply go there. And I always encourage our team, when you go, just meet one new person. You're not going there to go meet the whole group. Just meet one new person. And I myself go to these. I've made some incredible connections. I go to the entrepreneurial ones, so small business on the Sunshine Coast, or mums working from home on the Sunshine Coast. So not just, Darren, can you go to these groups, but you can start your own. And many of our team have done that, and it is incredible to see how quickly people join your group without you even doing anything. So it's a powerful tool. That's one thing we do. And, another thing that I do is I very often go back to my list. I sincerely believe that most network marketers have never gone through all their contacts. I really believe that with all my heart because I've seen it. Like for me, I've been in the industry a few years and I still have not spoken to everyone. So if you just have a look at who you've got on your phone as a contact, who you've got on Facebook that you've never spoken to, there's hundreds of people. So I do that. And then also when I'm out, I'm not a believer in go out to your local mall and go and stalk people. I don't like that. But I believe when you go out, always look for an opportunity. So when I go out just to do the normal stuff like grocery shopping, I'm always looking for an opportunity to meet somebody. And the first thing I do is I build a little bit of rapport. So, hey, how's your day been? You know, we could just be standing in the line in the grocery shop, and I will start talking to the one in front of me or behind me. And it's basically just going, hey, how's it going? Gosh, didn't we have great rain last weekend? And, you know, what are you up to? And I'll have a look at their trolley or their basket to see what they're buying. And then, you know, I'll see if they've got kids, like, are you on your way to pick up the kids from school? Or just start having a bit of a chat. And, you know, most of the time I don't pitch, like I don't go for, you know, the product or the business, but I go for making a new contact. And then I will always get them on Facebook before we leave that shop. So I just say, hey, you know, it's been so cool chatting with you. I really would love to stay in touch. Are you on Facebook? And most people are today. And you know what I've done then is I've got another pair of eyeballs watching what I do, right? So that's what I do. I'm constantly looking to make new friends.
That's all of that's wonderful advice. The meetups.com. We've got, you know, to always be on the lookout for making new friends. Definitely great suggestions. I see Rachel Jackson on here posting quite a bit, saying, yeah, meetups, that's global for sure and stuff. So Rachel, I'm looking for you. We need to get you on this program to interview you. She's very busy, but I'd love to get her on here.
She is, but she's amazing.
So with this, let's move on to another subject of, all right, so you're looking at going on a Pro 8 run. And I really think at any level, especially let's say after Pro 4, you need to create a duplication within your business, because if you're just trying to make it on your own, you can only grow so far. Talk to me about how you are driving duplication within your groups. What strategies do you use? What techniques?
Sure. So Darren, I've realized that duplication is one of the most important things. You know, people think enrollments are, but I believe an enrollment without duplication is useless. So for me, I focus very much on teaching our team how to duplicate within the first 72 hours. You know, most people, if you look at the research, most people within the first 72 hours make the decision of whether they're going to continue on or whether they have sales remorse, right? And they think, what have I done? I'm so busy. I'm not going to get this up, you know, off the ground. Like, I should never have signed up. So what we do is we have a very simple system with duplication. The very first thing we do is when we are actually talking to the new distributor or the person coming on board, I call it the interview. For me, it's an interview. We set expectations and we say to the person, right, so, you know, first of all, we want to know their why. Why are they doing this? It's really important to know that. The second thing is, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve? And then we set expectations that, hey, from day one, we're going to run. We're going to run with this. The first 30 days, we're going to contact many of your friends, your family, and we do it with them. So the next step is they enroll. We take them through the process. So I will never, ever send my link to somebody and say, just enroll yourself. I don't do that. I actually get them online and we go through the enrollment process, and I use it as a training. And from there, they get a welcome email from us, and we just have a standard team email that goes out that explains a few things and explains our Facebook groups, for instance. And then from there, we set our first appointment to have an hour launch call. And that I like to do within 24 hours of them joining. So we get them on, and the launch call is about showing them a bit in the back office, teaching them what our different Facebook groups do and what they need to use them for. And then very important is we say, right, let's look at your list. Let's get the first 10 people down on paper. Who do you think we should talk to first in your world? And then what we do as well is we set a date or 2 or 3 for launch parties. Now, I must tell you, in Australia, Darren, I found that most people in Australia do not like home parties. Australia is very much online. So 99%. Yeah.
Why is that? Because typically, if you want to find the party, just look for where the Australians are. I thought you guys would like to get together more.
Oh, look, we do, but we want to socialize. We don't want to go and do parties for business or parties for, Tupperware or that. People just don't like it. There will be a small percentage that do that, but majority, they don't like it. It's like, it's almost like the difference today between getting a phone call and a text. Right? People today don't want a phone call. I myself, every time my phone rings, I think, now who is that? Don't they know I'm busy? It's that interruption, right? And I think the same thing happens in Australia because people are time poor. Worldwide, people are time poor. So for them to know they can hop onto a webinar for 20 minutes and get the same information that's potentially going to take them half a day to do a party, or it could be 2 or 3 hours to go and attend a party, they much prefer the webinar. So we always give people an option. We say, let's do one in-home party and we do 2 online parties. So in your next month or 2 months, let's set those dates now. Because one thing I've learned in this industry is when you set a date, the party happens. When you don't set a date, it'll just lag and sometimes never happens. So in that first interview, in that launch call, I make sure we pick at least one date. And then what we do is we start contacting. So I help the person, and all we're doing is inviting them to come onto a webinar or come onto a 3-way call with the sponsor. And so what we do is we try and create quick wins for a new distributor. When they in their first week can get 1 customer on board or 2 customers on board, or maybe 1 distributor, they feel awesome. The other side of it, though, is it's not always results driven, it's action driven. So when they, within their first week, have taken action and they've started learning, they start getting hooked. Whereas if in that first week or 2 they've done nothing, the desire to do this just diminishes slowly and they lose the impact. So we are very big on making sure we get people started within the first 72 hours, and then we plug them into our system. So we have training once a week, and we have a few different Facebook groups, Darren. So for instance, we have one group where all of our customers come into. So these are people that have enrolled. Then we have a group where our distributors come into, the ones that have enrolled. But we also have prospect groups for both of those categories. So when we're talking to a prospect about the product and they're sitting on the fence and haven't quite made a decision, we've now got a special group that we put them into. And the information we share in there every day, it's like we drip feed why they should be on Protandem, testimonials of how good it works, all that stuff. And we find that really successful to get people over the line. And we have the same now with distributors. We have a brilliant group where we put prospective distributors into, and they watch us and they see how people are ranking and how, people are loving their journey. And so those things help us with our duplication as well. And, I really encourage people to stay plugged into one team until you hit Pro 8, Pro 9. I find too many distributors today, and, I was the same. I did exactly the same thing when I first started. I thought I need to create all my own stuff. I need to do all my own team trainings and all my own Facebook groups and all that. And what you do is you just create a massive amount of work for yourself. So I encourage our distributors and our leaders. We've got G Fletcher's a Pro 6. We have many Pro 5s now. We encourage them to just stay within the one group. Let's all support one another. And when your business is stable and strong enough, then it's okay to break away and start all your own stuff. So that's pretty much what we do. Does that answer your question?
I've had people, one person commented, I could sit and listen to her all day. I'm sure part of that's because of your accent, that it's really nice to listen to. But she did say that you're given a lot of great nuggets of information. And you know what? You're sharing with us tons of good information. I like it because you're being very specific about how you're growing the business, like in the first 72 hours. I think that engagement of the distributor, those new people coming in right at the beginning, so many people fall off in that first month. And And it's not because the business is bad. It's not because the product is bad. It's because I think we don't do a good job of, for lack of a better term, onboarding those people into the opportunity so that they know what to do and when to do it, you know?
Totally. And, you know, Darren, what I found is a huge missing link is setting expectations up front. So when you say to somebody, gosh, you know, I'm so excited to have you here. We are going to create quick wins for you. And from day one, we're going to do this. Day two, we're going to do that. Week two, we're going to do that. They're coming in expecting that. Whereas most people come in, they just get put into a team training maybe, and they sort of just get left. And or they come in thinking, oh, I'm not going to have to do much because, you know, people are going to build my business for me. And that's really why a lot of people have, you know, fail in this industry. So I'm really good at setting expectations up front with my distributors.
That's wonderful. Well, Charlotte, I don't even know where that half hour went, but we're already at a half hour. Let me, and I have another meeting that I'm actually in charge of, and I have to direct. It starts in just a few minutes, and I've got to run to another hotel. But I can't end without asking just a quick question. You're going to have to condense it.
Sure.
So we all know the 80-20 rule, that really 20% of what you do is going to create 80% of the value. Tell me maybe 2 or 3 things that fall into that category, that it is one thing, or it may be a fraction of what we're doing, but it will create the most value for your business.
Sure. So, you know, for me, it's 2 parts, Darren. There's mindset and there's action, right? So I know in this industry, 80% of our success is in our minds and 20% is skill. So for me, my mindset is this: I'm very disciplined. I do treat my business as a job. It's just something I've had to do to keep that discipline. I do treat it as a job, and I've learned to remove my emotions. So I know what I've got to do. I just get on with it. I don't think about it. Okay. So mindset is important, and I reset my mind every day. The second thing I do is, of course, I connect. I'm on social media. I engage. I'm present on social media, and that for me is a big part of my business. And, you know, then I connect with people daily, of course, Facebook messages. And I work with my team. I work on team launches. I am booked every day. You know, I've got 3, 4, 5, some days 6 meetings every single day where I'm doing online launch parties. So these are the presentations. I do one-on-one coaching. But one thing I can tell you that has worked phenomenally, and I wish we had more time because I've got so much to share, but we do blitzes in Australia, and we are currently in a blitz at the moment. We started a week ago, and we're running right through to the end of November, and we're doing an incredible blitz. And I can already see our numbers are jumping, and that's why I know end of next month I'll be Pro 8. Okay, so that's I would love to share more on the blitzes we do and how that has changed our business.
Well, I may have to pull you back on for part B or something of this. So send me some of the notes on blitzes. I really like you talking about mindset, treating it as a business, connecting with people, you know, work with your team. Such great information, Charlotte.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. If everybody out there that has enjoyed what Charlotte's been saying, and if it's been helpful, please show a little bit of love, throw some hearts up on the comments. Also, make sure if you haven't put your name, your city and state or country down, make sure that you do that if you want to be open to win some tickets to the Orlando Elite Academy. And anyway, thank you for spending your time with us today, Charlotte. Thank you for getting up early down in Australia. And I think it's been time well spent. If you could,
thank you so much.
If you could just stay on the line with me for 1 second. All right, everybody. Well, I'm seeing a lot of hearts coming across on the comments. Hopefully you can see those. They're saying, looks like Rachel put a ton of hearts down. Keely Smith has a ton of hearts. You've got just a ton of people saying thank you down there. So,
thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, Darren. Thank you.
All right, everyone. This is the last broadcast for this week. I think next week, since we have the Elite Academy coming up, we'll do a doctor's broadcast on Monday. Is that correct, Dana? We're going to do a doctor's broadcast on Monday. Then the remainder of the broadcast we'll do from the Elite Academy in Orlando. So we still should have our regular 3, and who knows, maybe we'll do a few more while we're there. So we'll see you on Monday, everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.